Hello everyone. So this is a follow-up video or the video I promised from my previous video tutorial about making sense of your risk register using Power BI. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what I am doing. Okay, so this is the interface of Power BI. It's okay. This is the app is okay. So you can download the app onto your laptop or your phone. This is currently my laptop. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So, but before you download the app or before you start to work with Power BI, make sure you have a copy of your risk register in an in Excel format. Is that okay? So for let me show you something. So for Google Sheets, fortunately, even though this is in a Google Sheet form, it's okay. You can download it in an Excel format, so Microsoft Excel. So you just click on it, and it will download over here. So I've already downloaded that, as you can see. So this is it. So when I go to my files and downloads, this is my file, and then downloads. That's my file up here. Okay, so let's go back to the to Power BI. So before we start, you should know Power BI is a Microsoft software that helps you generate graphs, yeah, interactive graphs for that matter, to help explain data in such a way that probably non-technical people would understand. Okay, so we're about to start. So for starters, you just click on blank document, and then you need to import the data. You cannot just start creating graphs using any of the visuals here without the data. So okay, so you need to import the data from wherever it is. But for us, we'll be importing our data from Excel. So you click on import data from Excel, and then you begin the opportunity to choose the Excel data. So like I had previously said, it's at downloads. So you get to download it from Google Sheets in an Excel format and then use it right away. So wait for it to connect and do whatever it's supposed to do. So as you can see, there are no items selected, so you need to select one. So I'm going to go with this one. So as you can see, everything, all the data that we've been working on, as you can see, is here. But we have some now columns and all that. We'll deal with that later. So from here, you choose transform data. Is that okay? So once you transform, you click on transform um data. Kindly make sure that the headers or the headings, okay, are in their right data format. In the sense that you see, for risk description, is words, isn't it? Or yeah, it's words. So ABC means the data for the section are all in words or is a text. Is that okay? So another example would be for this, likelihood is they are just made up numbers. So they are just numerical values, isn't so that's why I have one, two, three there. So in case maybe you upload your Excel file and you could see instead of seeing one, two, three, you're seeing ABC, you have to correct that immediately. Is that okay? Yes, and then so as you can see, risk also is numerical. That's why I have one, two, three. But risk level is in a text or they're just words. So that's why I have ABC. So like that. But for the now columns, we don't need the now columns. See these columns. We don't need them. These ones. We don't need them. So you can easily remove them by choosing remove columns. Okay. So you click on the column that I want to remove. So I want to remove column 12 to column 17. So this is 12. So you can just say remove columns. Remove columns. So on the column that you highlight, okay, is a column that will be removed. Or you can just choose and remove other columns. That would choosing that would mean that you get to you are clearing everything, and that would be a mistake. So whenever you make a mistake, don't worry. You can just come here, and then you can just delete the function that you did that made you made a mistake, and then things will go back to normal. So okay, so you just highlight the column that you want to remove, and then remove columns, then remove columns. And you see when okay, so for example, when I highlighted column 50 and I said remove columns, automatically the next empty column or the next column that I want to remove is highlighted. So I don't have to highlight it again. Then you just choose the remove column and then remove columns. So finally we've removed everything. When we scroll down, we've seen a lot of rows that we don't need here, to be honest. We don't need all of them. So you can just go back to the original where your actual data set ends. Mm, okay. So it ends at 25. So you can easily say remove columns. But in order to make things easy, we can just remove blank columns first. So remove blank columns. That will reduce the number of columns that we have left to remove. Is that okay? So still at 26. Remove rows. And then you can remove so remove bottom rows. Remove bottom rows means that where you've highlighted, the row that you've highlighted, any row after that will be removed. And that's what we want. So remove bottom rows. So the number of rows we want to remove. Right now, there after removing the now rows, we have 100 rows left. And since our actual data set ends at 25, it means the number of rows left for us to delete is 75. So just type 75 and then you OK it. And then all other rows that we don't need will be eliminated. As you can see, we're at 24 now. So everything else has been, all the other rows we wanted to remove have been removed. And all the other columns that we wanted to remove have been removed. So this is our complete data set as we want it now. So if you're okay with this, then just click on close and apply. So it would do its thing. So you give it like 1 to 2 minutes to, like load the data as it is. So it's done. So you can see your data at the side, at the right side of your window. So as you can see, all the headers here, controls, impact likelihood. This Sigma means that it has been added. Is that okay? Like the total likelihood for a particular risk category. So you see the risks that were listed, there were categories for each, and then some of the categories were cyber security and others. So if let's say if the category for the category for cyber security is okay, all the risk likelihood values for every other item that falls under the category of cybersecurity will be calculated. That's why you can see the Sigma. Sigma means sum. It's okay. The same for the risk score and then the same for impact team. And then you can see the review dates where you have the data hierarchy means you can choose whether to have year, month, or data shown in your visual. Let's collapse that. And then risk ID, risk category, risk description, risk level, risk score, and then status. Okay. So for the length of this video and for the length of this video, you're just going to work on three visuals. Is that okay? But before that, you see the side. So let's just explore a bit. Is that okay? So this is where we are currently, which is a reports view, and this is a table view. That's the data that we are working on. This is it. It will load right on. So this is the data that we are working on. This is it. And then this one is the model view. So let's say if we had two data sets in addition to the risk register, it would have shown the relationship between the risk register and the other data sets in terms of the things they have in common that gives it that relationship. Is that okay? So if we had another data set that also had like risk ID but different other headers, it would have linked the risk ID to the other data sets forming a relationship, but we don't have that. That's why you can see just one. So let's go back to our report view. So for the first visual, it's okay. We want to create a risk heat map, and we can do that using the scatter charter or the scatter chart. Sorry, the scatter chart. So this is it. That's what my cousin is at the moment. So you just have to click on it, and the visual will appear here. So a scatter chart helps you to know which risk is highly volatile, like which one needs a lot of concentration, on which risk needs to be dealt with, as their likelihood and impact is really, really high, making their risk level also high. Is that okay? So as you can see, just before we input our values, as you can see from the dummy model, any item that falls in the top right corner is the item or is a risk that needs the most attention, because that item or that risk has a high impact and has a high likelihood it's okay. But if it's in the lower left of the chart, then that means that their likelihood and impact is quite low, and they can be attended to after the risk with a high impact and high likelihood has been dealt with. Is that okay? Right. So when you look down here where my cursor is at the moment, you are actually input values to populate the chart. Is that okay? So for here, since we want to know the impact and then the likelihood of each risk, we are going to use impact and likelihood for our y and x axis. Is that okay? And then our legend is going to be either the risk level or risk score, depending on how you want it to look like. So we just have to move the impact to x axis, likelihood to sorry, likelihood to this. Is that okay? And then the legend will be either risk or risk level. But let's do risk level. Right, so this is how risk level, so a fuller screen, this is how risk level is going to look like, but we want it more populated, so we could add more. So risk category can be a value. So risk category will help us determine which category is in the top right corner, which means that the likelihood and impact is very high, or is in the top is in the lower left corner, which means the impact and likelihood are quite low, and they can be attended to later on. Exactly. So our values were risk category, x-axis was the impact, y-axis was likelihood, and legend was risk level. So let's make it a fuller screen and see. So as you can see, we can make a bigger. So you're making the values the circles or the plottings bigger. You can just put risk score at size, and then it will increase the size for you, just so it's more visible. So when you put your mouse on the top, like I said, the one appearing at the top right corner is the risk category that needs to be attended to before anything else. So as you can see, the risk category here is cyber security, and the risk level is very high. The impact is 40, which is quite high, and the likelihood is also 37, and the sum of risk is 1 year 64. As you can see, these are very high values. So it means that every risk description or every risk ID that falls under the category of risk that falls under the category of cyber security needs to be dealt with ASAP because their impact and likelihood is very high, which makes the risk level high. So anything that falls under the cybersecurity category, risk category, needs to be dealt with. A control needs to be put in place as soon as possible for it to be dealt with. Then you move downwards. So this is the second high or volatile risk category. And then the next one is a vendor risk, the next one. So in applying resources to address the risk in your organization, you can use this chart as a help is okay in allocating resources. So when you know that the one here is okay needs to be dealt with ASAP, then you can allocate a lot of resources to the one here, which in our case is cyber security, followed by technology, followed by vendor risk, followed by operational, followed by insider threat, followed by technology, followed by operational. The reason why you have cybersecurity here again is because you remember from our previous video, there was a risk description that we chose cybersecurity and technology for. So that's what this one represents. Is that okay? So the at least the one appearing at the lower left corner is operational. So operational can have the least resources for now, as we need more resources to deal with the cybersecurity risk category. Is that okay? Okay, so this a heat map that helps you know which risk category needs to be dealt or which risk needs to be dealt with ASAP or which risk needs more attention and resources at the moment before anything else. So the next one would be a bar chart. Is okay. So the bar chart will help you know, will help you tell is okay um which risk category or let's say which risk description with which risk ID has a higher risk level. Is that okay? So in choosing a bar chart, there are lots of bar charts here. So you can see we have stacked bar charts, and we have clustered bar charts, and then we have so we have stacked bar charts here, and we also have clustered bar charts over here. Sorry, let me change something immediately. Right. So like I was saying before, the scatter chart can help you create a risk heat map. Is that okay? So our next chart is going to be the bar charts, like I said, but there are lots of bar charts being shown on for the visual. Is that okay? So you can go with any of them basically. yeah, any of the bar charts will basically give you the same insights that you are looking for. So the bar charts, you can use the bar charts, okay, to you can use the bar charts to count the risk by owner. So if you want to know how many risk IDs or risk categories are being dealt by a single owner, you can use the bar chart to determine that. That way, you know what which owner is in charge of what and how many they have to deal with, and this can help you as a risk analyst determine which risk owner would need more resources again in dealing with the risk they are facing. So okay, like I said, there are lots of like different types of bar chart. As you can see, we have stack bar chart. We also have clustered bar charts. We also have stack bar chart. So literally any of them will be okay. So, but I like to go with this one. Or should we go with this one? Uh, let's go with clustered bar chart. So this is it, right? So for this bar chart, since we are having risk count by owner, is that okay? You can always change um. So as you can see here, when you make this a bit larger, you can see risk category by risk category and risk level. It's okay. It's usually because when you choose a visual, automatically a heading is chosen for the chart or for the visual you're using. So for this one, you see the right now there's no heading, or there's no header for this particular visual. But once you start inputting the data here, a heading will be automatically produced. So since it's risk count by owner, is that okay? We are going to drag owner to the axis, and then the other values to be populated. Is that okay? Right. Um so we can where's owner? So this is owner. Oops. So this is it. So you just have to highlight it again so I can see the values here. So this is owner. Owner can be at y axis, and then risk ID as x axis, and then you can add risk level, okay, as a legend, so that you see the kind of levels they are dealing with when it comes to the owner's risk. It may be a particular owner is dealing with a lot of high level risk, or a particular owner is dealing with a mixture of it. A particular owner is dealing with just low level risk. Exactly. So risk level, you can put risk level at legend, right? So you can put it in a focus mode. So these are the owners that were listed in our data set. So when you put so for the IT risk security, so this is the owner that is dealing with the most risk IDs. Okay. So when you put it here, you can say they're dealing with 6 risk IDs, and the risk level for these risk IDs is high. So they are dealing with 6 high level risk IDs. It's okay. And they are also dealing with 3 um medium 3 medium level risk IDs. It's okay. And then when you add that together, that will be 9. So this is the owner that's dealing with the most risk. And if it comes to allocation of resources or anything to help control their risk or mitigate their risk, they will need it the most, because okay, see, look at this one for instance. They are dealing with just 1 medium um risk. Is that okay? The resources that the IT risk at the top level would require cannot be the same for the one at the lower level. So this can help you determine how to allocate resources among the owners. Is that okay? Right. So let's put it back up here. So just for presentation sake, that's why I'm doing it like this. But when it comes just for the video sake, it's okay. But when it comes to actually making a report and all, you can put it in a full screen like this, and then edit it as many times as you want. Is that okay? When it comes to formatting the chart, it's okay. You can use this very icon here, the middle one, where you can change the font. Let me increase. Let me make this bigger so you know what I'm talking about. So where you can change the font of the y-axis, you can do the same for the x-axis, you can do the same for the legend, you can even change the colors at some point and all that. So you can just play around it and then make it as presentable as possible when you're generating your reports on a risk register. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing before. Right. So our next chart and the last chart we'll be dealing with will be the pie chart. Is that okay? I don't know if most of you did that, but in SHS, we used to do pie charts a lot. We used to calculate them yeah, over 360 and all that. So for the pie charts, we can look at the risk distribution by category. That's one insight it can give us with the pie chart. We can look at the risk distribution by the risk category. So this is where you have like a breakdown of risk by category, and then it also show which domain has more risk. Is that okay? Right. So for when you come back to your visual, build your visual. This is pie chart. This one is a pie chart. So you just click on it, and then it would appear here. So let's make it a bit bigger. So this is the pie chart, literally. So since we are looking at risk distribution by category, we just we need to make sure that we have our risk category as part of our values, and then also risk description as part of our values. Is that okay? Since it's risk distribution by category, it's okay. So you click on the pie chart, and then your legend will be risk category, and then your value will be risk ID. Is that okay? So let's so move risk category to legend. Risk ID will be values. Right. So this is how it's going to look. So when you move your mouse on any of them, you get to see which risk category has a lot of risk IDs. So once again, cybersecurity is stopping with 11 risk IDs, which goes on to prove the fact that the cybersecurity risk category needs our attention the most when it comes to dealing with any of the risk under the cybersecurity risk category. Is that okay? With the lowest being the insider threat with just one count of risk ID. This data, these charts are based on the data that we created when we were making a risk register. Okay, larger data sets would produce different results. So it doesn't mean that insider threat is not a risk that does not need to be addressed immediately. It's a risk that needs to be addressed ASAP. But we are just having one risk ID counts because of our data sets is a bit small, and we just fill them up just for the presentation sake, but actual and larger data sets would show other results, which would even show that probably insider threat would be a risk category that needs to be addressed ASAP if we were to have like other data sets or larger data sets. It's okay. So this is just for tutorial sake, or it's just for dummy purposes. It's okay. Yeah. So like I said, just for the length of this video, we'll just do 3 at the moment. Another thing you can also do, let me bring this down. Okay, so there's a visual called the slicer. Where is it? So this is the slicer. It's okay. So just a bonus. So this is a slicer. So the slicer can be used in such a way that um let me give an example. Okay, so for the review dates here, for the dates we have, let me go back to the table. So for the review dates we have 2025, 2026, 2027 and all that. So back to the report. So if you just want to show like data for a particular year without showing the other years, you can use a slicer for that. Or if you want to show data for maybe just for 2025, 2026 without 2027, you can also use a slicer for that. So let's try here. So this is a slicer. So like say you click on it and then it will pop up here. And then since we are talking about dates, we'll move the dates to the field. It's okay. But you can leave it like this. It's okay. So that means that this has the date from the very first beginning of our date. So 2nd January 2025. So the last date on our data, so which is 18 December 2027. So if you move this, so as you can see, the date is moving up downwards towards the very first date. So, okay, so when you move it away, it will move upwards towards the very last date. Is okay? But usually I don't like it looking like this. I would rather want like a drop down menu where I get to choose what dates I want. So for that, you can come here to format your visual and then go to slicer settings, and then instead of choosing between, you can use a drop down. So when you click on drop down, you'd see the dates here. And so if you want to show the data for a particular date, you can just click on that date, and then these charts will follow suit. I'll show you an example a minute. So this is the slicer settings and the slicer header. So because we used the data set review data, that's why we have the header as review date. But you can always edit it here if you want something else. But we don't want to, I don't want something else at the moment, so we'll leave it at that. And then you have the values here. You can change the setting, you can change the colors and everything, the border and background. So you can just play around it a little bit. Right. So like I was saying, if you want to show data for a particular date without showing the others, you can use a slicer, which will give you these options. And then go ahead and then choose the day you want to show the data for. Is that okay? Right. I don't know where this is from, but you can just remove it. Mhm. So in case you don't want to see like the dates as we had it before, let me just do undo. Right. See, as you can see, we have like 2nd January, 6th March, 18th March, 16th March. Maybe you just want to see the years like 25, 2025, 2026, 2027, without seeing the month and the days. You can easily go here. Okay, click on the arrow down, then choose date hierarchy. So for the date hierarchy, you can get to delete what you don't want to see. So I don't see the day, I don't see the month, I don't see the quarter. I just want to see the year. Exactly. So when you come back, you just see the year 2025, 2026, 2027. So when you choose a particular year, it will show you the data as it is. Exactly. So let's say these are our visuals. Okay, these visuals contain data from 2025, 2026, 2027, and then we want to just see what our future looks like. Since we're in 2025, we just want to see how our future looks like for the other years. So you can choose, since we are already in 2025, this is our present year. So 2026, then 2027. As you can see, they were changing. So 2026. So let me just highlight. So as you can see, this is the data. So look at all three charts carefully. You said they will change. So for 2026, you see they've changed. So this is our data for just 2026. And then when you choose 2027, you see when there's also change, you just highlight data for just 2027. It's okay. And then there's also 2025. So they just data for 2025. So if you don't want to highlight a particular year, but I just wanted you to wanted you to see that there's also other thing you can do when it comes to Power BI. There's so many things you can do when it comes to Power BI. Is that okay? You just need to play around it and then get comfortable with using it. So like I said, just so we don't make this video lengthy, these are a few things you can do with Power BI, and I hope with what you've learned, you'll be triggered to download the software and then play around it and get comfortable using it, because it's a great tool, to make a lot of visuals out of your data without having to manually create the charts or the visuals yourself. All you have to do is just click on a particular visual that you want, insert the data from your data set, and then you're good to go. You can use the format your visual, this very particular icon, to edit your chart or your visual in such a way that it's comfortable for you, or it's comfortable for the audience you're going to present to. Is that okay? So thank you very much for your time. And I do hope you find these videos insightful. If you do, kindly subscribe and give my video a like and share to others that might also find it interesting. Thank you so much. Bye.